What, you don't want me to edit? You don't want me to edit the video? Hey all, this is Adam with the Inkstained channel. It has been forever since I've spent some time with you all, and I have missed you greatly. Um, they say that human beings plan, and whatever higher power you believe in laughs. Well, mine has been laughing hysterically for months. Um, Health drama, job drama, all kinds of drama, and I'm going to spare you the drama because we're going to deal with something that is theatrical, and that is why we're here. I will probably record a video, relaying, hey, here's a video about why I haven't had a video drop in a while. I had hoped to have a video drop during the whole wonder that was the two-night event at the Islanders Arm, or two performance event at the Islanders Arms. It was amazing. I will talk about that another time. That's not what this is about. Recently, I was planning. I was ready to go. I was like, yes, okay. In fact, I ran into you virtually. One of my subscribers on somebody else's channel who was reacting to those performances, and I'd left a couple of comments because I couldn't keep my mouth shut about the Islanders Arms, and a subscriber mentioned to me, where have you been? How have you been? I hope you're okay. And I really, really appreciate that. And I'm going to give a shout out, Thomas. I appreciate that. And I promised you very, very soon I would be back. And I fully planned on being completely back now that my wage job is done for a while. But as I said, the higher powers laugh. I was given the opportunity, actually just a few days ago. An offer was extended to me to go and be an artist mentor in classical and contemporary theater with some really wonderful young people, for really starting next week and for the next 6 weeks or so. I will be in a much more green setting than Las Vegas, and sharing my love of creativity, the arts, with some really outstanding young people. I'm very honored that I'm being was offered the opportunity to do that, and it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be fantastic for my mind, body, and spirit to be out of the desert and to be mentoring young people and helping to reinforce a love of the arts, and particularly contemporary and classical theater and creativity with them, and hopefully help hone their skills for another generation. And I'm really looking forward to it. But as such, I will not be making much progress on my backlog of videos or responses to Nightwish stuff as I had intended to get all caught up this summer. That's not going to happen. So I may very well be posting some stuff from on site. It'll be a much more green and natural environment than where we are here. It won't be on the Nightwish playlist, probably, unless I'm doing Nightwish stuff. But keep an eye out. Subscribe if you find that you like what we do here. Those who have stuck with me during this down period, the 400 plus of you that are still sticking with me, I greatly appreciate it. And hopefully there will be more of us on this journey together soon. But I could not leave town without doing this particular video. So here's the thing. So I'm getting stuff ready, and I am a floor funder. Floor is my absolute favorite female vocalist in many many years, and certainly is now. Both for what I hear from her musically, when she sings, but also her mind, body, and spirit is fantastic. And in addition to that, her commitment to quality and craft um, is far more a reason why I would love to know Floor, um, than just the wonder that is the music that she gives us. It's the professionalism and craft that she gives us as well, that really raises her to another level in my mind. And I know from having done research for Nightwish videos in the past that Floor had kind of started out as a musical theater person, which I did as well. Um, and when I saw last night that Floor was dropping a cover of Dangerous Game from Jekyll and Hyde the musical, in a duet with Henk Poort, uh, I flipped my lid. Any of you who actually know me personally know that this is my absolute favorite musical of all time. I used to use music from Jekyll and Hyde vocally as audition pieces. It's a show that I adore. I've known a number of people in it, and out of the cast over the years. Um, it is an incredible, incredible musical, which I love the dark musicals. I love the rock musicals, and it is both of those things. And the character that Floor is singing, the character of Lucy, is my absolute favorite female character in modern musical theater at all. I mean, this is a character that I love so much that I dated a woman who played the character, and it's an incredible piece of music that we're going to share together. But I wanted to share a little bit of background and why it's so important to me. As I said, I've performed music from this show before. It's very dear to my heart, and one of the reasons is the stuff that is required vocally to perform the role of Jekyll/Hyde. And Henk does a phenomenal job. We'll get more detailed when we're looking at it. But it is one of my favorite pieces from my absolute favorite musical of the modern era, performed by my absolute favorite vocalist, female vocalist, probably of all time. And I was like, I cannot have this video drop from Floor and not do a video response to it. And so this video is being recorded right before I pack up whatever gear I can to take along with me, on my trip. This is actually try number 4. Okay, if you'll see, how I change the screen when I'm sharing stuff. So if you want to skip this part, I'm not going to hate on you for skipping this part and coming back when you see that I'm sharing the video, of the song. But the first 3 tries I could not get through without singing. So the first 3 tries, I went through, I watched it, and I'm like, I'm singing. That you're not here to hear me sing. So I was like, okay, got to do it again, and that happened 3 times. And so then I did some changes with my microphone so that maybe if I did wind up singing on the 4th try, the 3rd try, it wouldn't be heard. And then I recorded the video all over again, and there was no audio on my end because I had muted the mic. So that didn't work out either. So here we are, try number 4, and hopefully we'll get it right this time. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited about this. When I saw it was going to drop, I was hoping that maybe I was like, okay, if it's going to be coming down soon, if it's going to be coming down soon, maybe I can do a real reaction because, those of you who have followed my videos up until now know I do response videos because we often deconstruct lyrics because I want to have something of value to say about the performance. I've always watched the videos beforehand, and I was going to do a real genuine reaction to this one. And obviously, if I had more impulse control, I would not be such a large mammal. So I don't have the impulse control, and I knew I wouldn't have time to do a whole bunch of reworking in post. So I wanted to make sure I was prepared to go ahead. So. As always, I'll stop at points to give my 2 cents, and we can, we'll double back so that we don't miss any real builds, and yeah. So without any further delay, let's get into it.
I feel your fingers.
Gorgeous as always.
Cold on my shoulder, your chilling touch as it runs down my spine, watching your eyes as they invade my soul, forbidden pleasure I'm afraid to make mine.
Okay, I know we're 42 seconds in, and I'm stopping already, but we're about to hit a run. This is a song, unlike Nightwish, where I've become very familiar with the canon over the past year or so. This is a song I've known for a very long time. A difference about musical theater performance and regular performance is musical theater composition. This is a song that was written to be acted. Now, Floor does a phenomenal job. One could say that Floor inhabits any song that she performs, and that would be true. But this is a song that was written to be inhabited by a person playing a character. And so when you see Floor, the expressions the facial expressions she's got going on, the way the body is moving as she's singing, it's written to be that way. And if musical theater is written well, you cannot help it when you're performing it. You're going to the notes are going to coincide with the emotion, which is going to coincide with the character, which is going to coincide with the story. Now, in many ways, a lot of Tuomas's compositions, Ghost Love Score really being perhaps the best example of it. His music tends to be very theatrical, and so it lends itself to that. But that is almost a byproduct of simply the way that Tuomas writes and the way he approaches composition. This is a song written to be performed as part of a story in a long musical, to be sung by a singer and actress who is inhabiting that character. And Floor's doing a phenomenal job. But keep that in mind as we go through, because that's going to be relevant when Henk starts, and I'm going to do Songus Interruptus again when we get there.
At the touch of your hand, at the sound of your voice, at the moment your eyes meet mine, I am out of my mind, I am out of control, full of feelings I can't define.
It's a sin with no name,
Like a hand in a flame,
and our senses proclaim it's a dangerous game.
Okay, I'm going to go back when we we're going to come back around to this in a second. That choral line, first of all, this is really, really metal, which is great. Um, Jekyll and Hyde, most of us are familiar with the story of Jekyll and Hyde. The character, jumping back into character, that Floor's part, the character that she is in a sense portraying here is Lucy, who is a burlesque performer, and that in a seedy club in London and London's East End, and Lucy is one of the most sexual and sensual characters in all of sort of epic Gothic musical theater, and she develops a relationship with Hyde, and ironically, not Jekyll, but Hyde. And Hyde is, of course, abusive, and she winds up having some injuries due to her shenanigans with him. And she's met Jekyll as a person who's come to the club, and he actually tends to her wounds as Jekyll that he's inflicted upon her as Hyde, and yet Lucy never recognizes him. And that is important because it allows us as the audience to feel that we don't need to recognize him either. If someone who has been truly intimate in the most intimate of ways with Hyde does not recognize that he and Jekyll are the same person, then we as the audience have license to suspend our disbelief in thinking that the actor, how does she not recognize the actor? So we're given that license. She's a phenomenal character, and the music that she sings is truly wonderful. And this is probably the one real true duet that she and Hyde have in the course of the show. But that choral part that comes up is very Nightwish. And this is a harder metal version of the accompaniment than I've ever heard. And like I said, I've been pre-contracted to do the show multiple times, and I've done much of the music from the show in performance, and it's I've never heard it this metal, and I love it. It is right. It is how it should be. And we'll get into why a little bit later, but let's get into them singing together. I'm going to go back a little bit so you can hear the choral line I was referring to come in again, and we'll keep going.
A darker dream that has no ending, that's so unreal. You believe that it's true. A dance of death out of a mystery tale. The frightened princess doesn't know what to do.
Okay, going to go back to Henk, and I want to talk about some things with this. Henk is a master of his craft. There is no denying it, no doubting it. Phantom came out when Phantom of the Opera, the musical, came onto Broadway when I was about 12 years old. And you know, Henk has done more performances of Phantom, of that one role, than most of us could easily count. Probably not as many performances of that one role as I've done of everything in my entire life, but he's done a lot of performances of Phantom, and Phantom requires a tenor. It really does. It requires a tenor. Unless you're going to play with transposition, that's just what the role demands. Hyde is different. Hyde demands a different vocal range. It demands a baritone with some tenor notes. All of Hyde's stuff is in a baritone range. with a few notes here and there that require more. Um, all of Jekyll's stuff is in a lyric baritone or a high baritone range. Um, but Jekyll and Hyde demands a low range, which Phantom does not. So, when I've worked with performers, and that's my range is high baritone with some tenor things. The When I've worked with actors, musical theater performers, etc., if you have a true tenor range, where you have the whole breadth of what a tenor does, I call you a tenor. You may be a tenor with a good low range, which is what I would say that Henk is. I mean, Henk's range kind of defies a single classification, but I would say he's a tenor with a great low register, with a great low range. As opposed to a baritone with some tenor accents. So, Jekyll and Hyde, what that character demands is something a little different. The range of Jekyll/Hyde, because it's the same actor who plays both parts in the musical. The role requires not just a mastery of a fairly straightforward high or lyric baritone with tenor accents or some tenor notes. It's fairly straightforward that way. But where Jekyll and Hyde really stands out is in the necessity of vocal placement or the placement of resonance. There is a song, another subscriber to someone who, to another floor funder, a person who subscribes to Floor's channel, when she mentioned she was going to drop it, they said they had hoped to see her do Confrontation, which is one of Jekyll/Hyde's numbers. It's written for a guy, but it's Floor. She can do whatever she wants, and she will do it better than anybody else. So I'm sure she could hack it. But in Confrontation, Jekyll/Hyde sings both characters. And what becomes very clear is Hyde's music, and this is also clear throughout the show, Hyde's music is very much in that baritone pocket. It's got deep resonance. I mean, the baritone voice, very low. It's got the deep resonance, and that resonance often comes across as grit and using your resonators that allow you to open, the lower sort of abdominal resonation, which is prevalent in a bass or a baritone. That's a different placement of where the sound is coming from. And whereas that's the Hyde music, whereas the Jekyll music is very much up here. It's a very lighter, soft sort of quality. And I'm pointing to different aspects. This is where my hand is, as I'm talking, placing the resonation in my chest here is more of a lyric baritone kind of sound. That's a lyric baritone is usually your younger characters, your young male hero characters, in your classic or Gothic musical style. They're either a lyric baritone where the sound here is much lighter, as opposed to the sound here, which is much lower, deeper, more resonant. There's a darkness, more of a darkness to that sound down here, as opposed to your sound up here. And the ability to move back and forth on those resonators is key to being successful at playing the role of Jekyll/Hyde. It's a demanding role, and it's a great role, and Henk does a phenomenal job with the song. One thing that is missing for me as we move forward is that this is a song, as I mentioned, about sort of the darkness of sensuality, and I'm not so as much getting that from Henk, but Henk is more classically upright, singing, Phantom of the Opera style, lyric baritone tenor, more tenor than lyric baritone because you got to be to do Phantom, and and he's an older dude. I bring that up for a couple reasons because it relates to Floor doing this song. And the way in which it relates is that Jekyll and Hyde, during its history on Broadway, was known for subbing in big name sort of pop singers or pop stars, rock singers to play the role of Jekyll and Hyde. So there are a couple that I'm going to point out, and one of which is kind of relevant with regard to Floor's background a little more. One of which, Jack Wagner, who was an actor, a soap opera actor who had a couple of hits, back in the 80s. Jack Wagner played the role. Chuck Wagner, no relation to Jack Wagner, did the role most often, though neither were the original. But two notable people who did it. One is David Hasselhoff. Now, we joke about the Hoff, and we talk about the Hoff, and the Hoff has become a pop culture icon in his own way, in both positive and negative ways. But David Hasselhoff is an enormously successful singer, musician, particularly in Germany. The Dutch love them some Hasselhoff, and I mean, platinum selling artist as a singer in Germany. And, we don't think of David Hasselhoff that way, but you got to know, as a person of Dutch descent, of Dutch origin, Floor certainly would have. So that to me is relevant. And he did a very, very, very good job. And you can catch his performance of Jekyll and Hyde. If you see the Jekyll and Hyde, the musical, on DVD or download or Prime or HBO, any of those things, you're going to see David Hasselhoff's version because that's the one that was filmed for large distribution. And he does a fantastic job. But more notably, with regard to the stylistic elements of this, and particularly this cover, is that one of the most interesting choices to play Jekyll/Hyde on Broadway was Sebastian Bach, the former and now, again, current lead singer of Skid Row, the hard rock, arguably heavy metal band from the 1980s. And he brought something totally different to it. There were times when he almost sounded like a screaming demon. I was fortunate enough to catch a bootleg recording and hear him perform the role. It's not widely available. If you can find it, it is definitely worth a listen. But as I heard this the first time, I was like, I really wish they could have added these metal elements to the production that he did. But it was a different time. The metal elements in this are killer, and it's how it should be done. I'm probably repeating myself, but it's how it should be done, and I love it, love it, love it. But, of course, we know Henk is not metal. Henk is also not Young in Springtime. He's got the voice, and there's no questioning about it. He does a great job, and he does, and his voice blends beautifully with Floor's. But there is sort of that connection. They have a more of a professional, they come across, having this fondness for each other, this true professional fondness for each other. They seem to genuinely like each other, but there's no point at which, you're wondering if they're going to, wind up crawling in the sack. And that is kind of a little bit of what I'm missing in this, but that has nothing to do musically. That's simply knowing knowing what the song is, knowing the characters, and knowing how the song feels to me as a performer when I've performed it, and when I've seen the musical, and how I think of the connection that the song really kind of inspires and what the song's about. But let's get back to the song.
The dark like a dream that has no ending.
That's cool.
So unreal. You believe that it's true. A dance of death out of a mystery tale. The frightened princess doesn't know what to do. Will the ghost go away? Will she will them to stay? I don't wait, there's no way to win.
All I know is I'm lost, and I'm counting the cost. My emotions are in a spin.
Okay. I'm going to take it back for a second because there's something that I kind of want to point out in this. You know, this is relevant to, you know, to what we're looking at. I mean, this is obviously it's a cover. It's not a performance of the production. I get that, and so understand before someone goes, it's not the show. It's a cover by Floor and Henk. I get that. But we talk about things theatrical, and this is very theatrical, and we talk, and it's not just theatrical, it comes from theater. So, you know, it's what we do here. I want to note that part, once they start singing together, and she's got that line, you know, over what he's singing, you know, will the ghost go away? Will she will them to stay? Either way, there's no way to win. Normally what the actor does who's playing the Jekyll Hyde role is he goes up on his ahs after she takes over the lyric line. And it's almost in I've always seen it done, and I've always done it as if it's he goes up because he's mirroring what she did and almost mocking her inability to resist him. That's not what Henk does here, either vocally or performance-wise. But I felt it's worth pointing out that you know, this is very much a direct cover of the song. Not really. The Floor is very much inhabiting the character. Henk, not so much. We know he can. I mean, he's done massive amount of performance work, but that's just not where we are here. See, there's her ahs. And normally he'd go up.
All I know is I'm lost, and I'm counting the cost. My emotions are in a spin. I don't know who to blame.
It's a crime and a shame.
But it's true all the same.
It's a dangerous game. No one speaks, not one word. But what words are in our eyes?
Okay, we're gonna go back. Listen to those hits on the choral hits here. If that doesn't sound like Ghost Love Score, I don't know what does. And there's going to be, I'll point out later, there's another very, you know, Nightwishy horn section here. Okay, we're going to take it back because it's worth listening to many, many more times. But you hear that horn section, the dun, dun, dun. That's so Nightwish. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. If you don't got tenor notes, you're not hitting that
It's a dangerous game.
Okay, I'm going to take this back a little bit.
Fire, fury, and flame.
Cast the devil to blame.
Okay, this thing that we're going to hear, Fire, Fury, and Flame. He hits the note, but usually it's a bigger deal. Henk doesn't need to impress anyone. Usually it's a little bit of a bigger deal. But where the angels proclaim that, his line on that, you know, if you don't have high range, you know, heavy high range, like not in head voice, but in centered, you know, just part of your toolbox, which is where we talk about the role needing a high lyric baritone with some tenor notes. This is one of the reasons why. There are many other examples in the show, in Jekyll and Hyde, where that's necessary, but here is one. It's a song that is pretty much right in kind of that high baritone or lyric baritone pocket throughout. But then, you know, Bricusse, you know, the lyricist, he does this thing to us actors, where he's like, oh yeah, you think that song's in the pocket? Let me throw this one in on you.
And the angels proclaim. It's a dangerous game.
Okay, so you know, I apologize for waxing on, but you know, it's where we go. We talk about lyrics. We usually talk more about the lyrics, and this, you know, the lyrics are pretty clear. There isn't as much of a need to deconstruct them. Talking about the song, how it relates to musical theater, how the performances relate, and what is intended with the way the song is composed, and how it fits into the purpose for which it was written, seemed to me to be a little more important. Also, I managed to not sing this time. I mouthed some words. I apologize, but I did manage to not sing through this take. So. If you like what we do here, if you enjoy the little bit of time that we just spent together, please do subscribe. Follow what we're doing. Subscribe. But I mean me and my dog who's been wandering around this whole time. Follow what I'm doing. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell so you're notified when I drop a new video. I know the bell has been very silent over the past few months, and if it had been avoidable, you know, I love the time that we spend together. I love interacting with you in the comments. I love being part of this community. So more will be coming, maybe not over the next 6 weeks or so, but you never know. I won't have as much equipment, so it may just be more me chatting with you than response or deconstruction of, you know, Nightwish tunes or videos of that nature. But you never know. I may be able to figure it out and figure out a way, you know, while on the road to do that. But if you enjoy spending time with me, regardless of what it is I'm doing, please hang out, you know, during the other videos. Check out the other playlists as well. But as always, take care of your mind, body, and spirit. That's why I'm hitting the road for a little while here. And it's so important. Taking care of your mind, body, and spirit is so important right now. It has been important. It's been critical this past year. And it's still important, always important. And remember to be kind to yourself. Again, this is Adam with the Inkstained channel. Thanks so much for joining us, and I'll see you next time.